Good afternoon, Yellow Army. Welcome back to another episode of Inside Plainmoor. Today we'll be speaking to manager Gary Johnson regarding this week's developments from the National League and how the club have been reacting to it. We'll also take a look back at the final game of the 2018-2019 season as Torquay United rounded off their championship winning season in style at St Albans. Good morning, Gary. How are you doing?
Well, I'm doing okay. When it gets near 3 o'clock on a Saturday, like it is pretty much now, I get itchy feet and I need to watch some football. And actually, it's ridiculous because last Saturday, I was at 3 o'clock sitting on my sofa wondering what to do. So I put on the telly. We've got quite a big telly in the lounge. The game against Aldershot that we had live, and I sat in front of it and I nearly put toilet paper down to make a technical area so I could watch the game from the technical area, but the wife said no, we're running short, so I wasn't allowed to use it. But so anyway, 3 o'clock kick-off last Saturday. I ended up watching the Aldershot game live on the telly from last September or something. Anyway,
die hard, I guess, don't they?
Yeah, that's right. So now this Saturday I've got you.
Well, I'm not sure it's quite as enjoyable, but we'll see how things get on. Obviously, the main news, Gary, this week was the announcement made by the National League that all of the fixtures for the remainder of the 2019-20 campaign are to be cancelled. We have to start there, really. We couldn't start anywhere else. What are your individual thoughts on that, Gary?
Well, they are my individual thoughts, of course, and of course the club and myself have been discussing it, so we were all of the same thoughts, which is good. So my thoughts are also our own club's thoughts. We wanted to keep the hope of football returning, if and when it was fit and safe to do so. Obviously, that's the most important thing. Mm-hmm. But I also wanted us aligned with the EFL and their decisions that they were making. For instance, League Two have decided that when we can, League Two have said they'd like to finish the season. But we, a week ago, had decided that we didn't want to finish the season as a National League. And that was what disappointed me. We took away the hope of supporters and players as far as looking forward to something. Now we know it's going to be a longer term because there's going to be no football in the near future. And if we did combat the virus and win over the pandemic, then if the EFL are playing and we're not, we're going to be really disappointed. If we're all together singing from the same hymn sheet, because I believe that the National League should be a part of the EFL and their decision making, then I didn't want a situation where we made a decision and they made a different decision, which is exactly what's happened. Now it could be that we don't play anyway, obviously. But if we did, then I'd wish we could have finished the season.
Yeah. It's now obviously following the announcement, you've had a number of conversations with Torquay United CEO George Edwards. How have those conversations been going?
Well, to be fair, they've gone very well and very positive. The club has been very positive in thinking about the future. I mean, I put my thoughts to them and their thoughts were the same, that we need to keep, our family of football staff, we need to keep our family of playing staff. A lot of work has gone into our playing staff over the last couple of years. Along with our loans, because we're hoping to get a couple of them back when the new season starts. But I can only say that the club have been brilliant in, giving me the chance to discuss plans going forward with the players and obviously their contracts. And, the majority of lads we're trying to keep. So I've been talking to them regarding their futures with us and how we can help them through this, terrible state of affairs of the virus. But the club are there for them to help them get through it. And if they, obviously sign a new contract, then they're covered as far as the furlough is concerned for a month or two. And then whatever happens, the club have guaranteed that the players and staff will still receive a wage to make sure that we're all still here when the season, whenever it starts. So it's been a great commitment to the club and by the owners and by George, and I'm just very, very pleased that we can carry on the development and the work that we've done with this group of lads, and along with maybe bringing in 2 or 3 marquee players when the season comes around. Maybe 1 or 2 more young lads joining us, at the other end, in inexperienced or young lads, to make sure that we keep that conveyor belt going. And it's something that we can only be pleased with as a club, because it means we haven't got to start again. And continuity is a massive thing at this moment in time. And so hopefully we won't lose too many of our players.
I mean, that all sounds very, very positive. Over the last couple of weeks, you and me have spoken about how important it is to the development of young players and all that. And obviously, whatever has happened to the season, the experience that those young players have had will still put them in good stead for the next season, whenever that takes place, won't it?
Yeah, it does. I mean, football's all about experience and giving good players the opportunity to play regularly, because young players don't always get regular games when they're at league clubs, for instance. And if they've got ability, then they just need the experience. And the more experience you give them, the more their ability will come out. And I think everybody would agree that we've got players here that have got ability, and we've seen on many occasions the actual football that we can play. Now, we can play our best football more often and not have our injury crisis like we've had this season. Then I'm very confident, and the club are confident that they've committed to this group. I'm committed to this group, along with maybe two or three others coming in, and the club are carrying on their plans for the future of getting back into the Football League as quickly as possible, and that's what they've shown me, and obviously shown the players that are here in all our discussions.
It does sound, as much as possible, as almost as if it's still business as usual then, and the plan is still very much in place. Like you said, it's very important that we all stick together, the players, the staff, the sponsors, the supporters, that we all go forward as one to take this club forward.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what the club have said, and they've actioned it as far as giving me the chance to talk to the players and talk discussions on contracts, etc. And there's a lot of clubs out there that are just disbanding whole staff, and obviously Luton yesterday sacked the manager and coach and goalie coach, etc. So because of the financial situation. So credit to our club, really, that we saw it as a situation going forward with this group on and off the field, and the supporters should be happy in the knowledge that all our efforts are going to be trying to make sure that we get back into the second division, the Football League, pretty quick.
Now, with obviously there's still a lot to be sorted out in terms of final standings, promotion, relegation, etc. How does that hamper your preparations for the new season, whenever that is? Obviously, there's a lot of fantastic work going on behind the scenes at the club, but it must be difficult when obviously none of those things have been sorted yet.
Well, I honestly don't know how the National League Committee are going to, what decisions the National League are going to make on how to end the season, because they've cancelled it. But we still have not seen the options of the new vote yet. Now, presuming that it will be totally null and void the league, so nobody goes up, nobody gets relegated. That would, I presume, be one option. There'll be options of whether there's promotion and relegation, and then therefore how do you work that out? There's talk about points per game added, to your last few games. I think we would end up 11th or something on that stuff. So and then whoever's in the playoffs. You know, I still think they might have thoughts about playoffs, and for the life of me, I can't work out how that would work and who they would put in the playoffs, because right down to us, we've still got 10 games to go. Barnet have got 11 games. How and obviously we're only not 10 points off the 7th spot with 3 games in hand. So how can they work out which teams would have been in the playoff had we played? And so it's a difficult decision, Brum. We understand that. So I don't know how we would vote. We've got to wait and see the actual options before we end up voting. But it looks like, you know, our season is over, disappointingly, and so now we've got to put all our efforts into keeping everybody on board and going into next season nice and strong, because we've still got our happy family.
Well, there'll be plenty more about that I expect to come out over the next few weeks. We have had a supporter that's got in touch with us. It's Stuart Fields' 40th birthday on Wednesday. He's been through a bit of a difficult time recently, but thankfully things are on the up now. He actually now lives in Manchester, but comes to see Torquay as often as he can and goes to quite a few away games. So just wondered if you could wish Stuart Fields a happy birthday for Wednesday.
Of course I can. Stuart, happy birthday for Wednesday. Hopefully you're getting better from whatever your problem was, and keep going, mate. And hopefully when football comes back around, we might have something to look forward to every week. But you know, I'm always happy to talk to our supporters and wish them well. It was a birthday a week or so ago with a young lady, and I actually do wash my hands with the name of that lady at the end of it. So, you know, thinking of her, and I'm thinking of Stuart as well, and any other of our supporters that have been in hardships or that have been ill. You know, I cross my fingers for all of them, that they recover and we get out of this horrible situation and come out, and hopefully there's light at the end of the tunnel at some point, and we can all get back to some sort of normality. But so all the best, Stuart, and see you soon.
Absolutely, that is the priority. Thank you very much for that, Gary. Well, thank you very much again for your time today, Gary. To play us out today, we're going to be looking at highlights from the last game of last season. Hopefully it's a game that, well, I'm sure it will be a game that you remember only too well. It was the game against St Albans, where Torquay won 4-0, and no less than 4 records were broken on that occasion. It was the fastest goals, the most wins, and the most points were all secured in that one game. What do you remember about the lead up to that final game of the season?
Well, we won the league against Eastbourne at home, as we've already shown, you know, on these chats. We then lost. It was after the Lord Mayor's show. I think the lads were a little bit worse for wear. Probably a little bit of the champagne went to their brains in the next 2 games, and we lost to who did we lose to?
Chippenham and Hungerford.
Chippenham and Hungerford. Yeah, they were disappointing. And I said to the boys before the Oxford City game, because they had where was it? St Albans. Sorry, I always get them two mixed up. St Albans, that they actually had a chance in that game if they'd have beat us to get into the playoffs. So they hadn't given up by no stretch of the imagination. And I just wanted to make our lads aware that, look, we're champions. You're under no pressure. Go out, play your game without feeling the pressure. But it's very important that we go into the summer having had a win in our thoughts, because it is so much better. Whether you've won the league, we've got a group of lads that get very disappointed when they've lost the game, and it stays with them for a little while, and we have to do quite a lot to re-motivate them again. So we said, let's go out and win this game in the first 5 minutes. I swear, I'm not making that up. The lads will tell you. And of course, we scored from the kickoff. Yeah. And the rest was history. You know, the boys played some great football, some great goals, and it meant we went into the summer looking forward to the new season. And you know, that's how it was. So I was very proud of them that day, because it was a good end to a championship season.
Absolutely, real statement of champions. Well, we're going to have a look at that there. But in the meantime, from me and Gary, wish everybody all the best.
Yeah. Yeah, stay safe, stay home, all that.
And we'll speak to you all again soon. Take care.
Yeah. See you later.
You play your opponents in the first ball at the Hatfield Road end of the ground.